Imagine if just three simple principles could transform not only your financial future, but the lives of your entire family for generations to come. That's exactly what I discovered on my journey from a humble garage to building one of the world's most valuable companies. In this video, I'm sharing the three investing secrets that shaped my success and how you can use them to unlock new opportunities, build lasting wealth, and secure a brighter future for your loved ones. If you're ready to think bigger and invest smarter, you won't want to miss this. If there's one lesson that has shaped every decision I've made, both in business and in life, it's the power of prioritizing long-term investments over short-term gains. The world is full of distractions, headlines that scream about the latest market swings, friends who boast about quick wins, and a culture that celebrates instant gratification. But if you want to build something that truly lasts, something that can change your family's future forever, you have to learn to tune out the noise and focus on the horizon. When I started Amazon, I made a conscious choice to build for the long term. I told our early investors that we would prioritize growth and customer value over immediate profits. That wasn't just a business strategy, it was a philosophy. It meant making decisions that might look foolish in the short run, but would pay off in the years and decades to come. We invested in technology, in infrastructure, in people. We poured resources into improving the customer experience, even when it meant sacrificing short-term earnings. There were plenty of skeptics. Wall Street analysts questioned our approach. Competitors mocked our razor-thin margins, but I knew that if we stayed true to our vision, if we kept planting seeds and nurturing them patiently, the harvest would be extraordinary. Long-term investing is about more than just patience. It's about vision. It's about seeing possibilities that others overlook because they're too busy chasing the next trend. It's about having the courage to invest in things that might not pay off for years or even decades. When we launched Amazon Web Services, most people didn't understand what we were doing. Why would an online retailer build a cloud computing platform? The answer was simple. We saw a future where technology would empower businesses of all sizes to innovate faster and cheaper. We were willing to invest the time, the money, and the energy to make that future a reality. Today, AWS is one of the pillars of Amazon's success, but it took years of hard work and belief before it became obvious to everyone else. The same principle applies to your family's financial future. If you want to build real generational wealth, you have to resist the temptation to chase quick returns. You have to be willing to put your money into assets that will grow over time, whether that's stocks, real estate, or your own education and skills. You have to ignore the hype, the endless parade of hot tips and can't miss opportunities. Instead, focus on the fundamentals. Look for investments that have the potential to compound, to create value year after year, and most importantly, give them the time they need to grow. Long-term thinking also means being comfortable with uncertainty. The future is always unknown, and there will be setbacks along the way. At Amazon, we faced plenty of challenges: dot-com crashes, economic downturns, fierce competition. There were moments when it would have been easy to panic, to cut back, to play it safe, but we stayed true to our vision. We kept investing, kept innovating, kept pushing forward. That resilience, that willingness to weather the storms is what allowed us to emerge stronger every time. One of the most powerful aspects of long-term investing is the way it changes your perspective on failure. When you're focused on the short term, every setback feels like a disaster. But when you're playing the long game, failures become learning opportunities. They're just steps on the path to something bigger. I've always encouraged my teams to experiment, to take risks, to try new things, even if it means failing along the way. Because every failure teaches you something valuable, and every lesson learned brings you closer to your ultimate goal. If you want to secure your family's future, you have to adopt this mindset. Don't measure your progress by what happens in a week or a month. Think in years and decades. Ask yourself, what kind of future am I building? What seeds am I planting today that will bear fruit tomorrow? Are my decisions aligned with my long-term vision, or am I just reacting to the latest headlines? The truth is, anyone can get lucky in the short term, but real wealth, real impact comes from those who are willing to think big, act boldly, and wait patiently. That's the secret that has driven Amazon's growth from a tiny garage startup to a trillion-dollar empire. And it's the same secret that can help you build a legacy for your family If you have the courage to think long term, to invest in the future, and to never stop believing in what's possible, embracing innovation and investing in future-focused opportunities is the single most powerful way to ensure your family's prosperity for generations to come. The world is not static. It's a living, breathing organism that's constantly evolving, and the only way to thrive is to move with it, or better yet, to move ahead of it. From the earliest days of Amazon, I understood that the companies, the families, and the individuals who win are the ones who are willing to bet on the future, not just the present. When I started Amazon, the internet was still a curiosity to most people. The idea of buying anything online, let alone building a business on the web, seemed outlandish. But I saw something different. I saw a platform that could connect millions of people, a technology that could break down barriers and create new possibilities. I didn't just want to ride the wave of innovation. I wanted to help create it. That's why we didn't stop at books. We expanded into music, movies, electronics, and eventually everything you can imagine. We built new tools, new services, and new ways for people to shop, work, and live. Every step was a bet on the future, a belief that tomorrow could be better than today if we were willing to invent it. Innovation is not just about technology. It's about mindset. It's about being curious, open-minded, and willing to challenge the status quo. It's about asking what if and why not. It's about seeing problems as opportunities and being willing to experiment, even when the outcome is uncertain. At Amazon, we built a culture where innovation was everyone's job. We encouraged our teams to think big, to take risks, and to learn from failure. We celebrated bold ideas, even when they didn't work out, because we knew that every experiment brought us closer to the next breakthrough. For your family's future, this means looking beyond what's comfortable and familiar. It means seeking out opportunities in emerging industries, new technologies, and changing markets. The world is full of people who cling to the past, who invest only in what they know, who are afraid to try something new. But the real rewards go to those who are willing to embrace change, to invest in what's next, and to position themselves for the opportunities of tomorrow. Think about the industries that are shaping the future right now. Artificial intelligence, renewable energy, biotechnology, space exploration, digital finance. These are not just buzzwords, they're the engines of the next wave of growth. The families who invest in these areas, who educate themselves about new trends, who are willing to take calculated risks, will be the ones who build lasting wealth and security. It's not about chasing every fad or jumping on every bandwagon. It's about doing your homework, understanding the fundamentals, and making informed bets on the future. Innovation also means investing in yourself and your family. The most valuable asset I'll ever own is your ability to learn, adapt, and grow. Encourage your children to be curious, to ask questions, to explore new ideas. Invest in education, in skills, in experiences that broaden your horizons. The world is changing faster than ever, and the families who thrive will be the ones who are always learning, always evolving, always ready for what comes next. At Amazon, we never stopped inventing. We launched Amazon Web Services when most people thought it was a distraction. We built Alexa when voice technology was still in its infancy. We invested in logistics, robotics, and cloud computing long before they became mainstream. Each of these moves was a bet on the future, a willingness to innovate, to experiment, to fail, and to try again. That's what set us apart, and that's what will set your family apart if you embrace the same mindset. The truth is, the future belongs to the innovators, the builders, the dreamers who are willing to take risks and invest in what's next. If you want to change your family's future forever, don't just settle for what's safe and familiar. Look ahead. Be bold. Embrace innovation in every area of your life, and invest in the opportunities that will shape the world of tomorrow. That's how you build a legacy that lasts, not just for yourself, but for every generation that follows. Taking calculated risks to maximize potential rewards is a principle that has shaped every major decision I've made, both in business and in life. If you look at the story of Amazon, you'll see a series of bold moves, each one carefully considered, each one carrying real risk, and each one driven by a vision of what could be, not just what was. The truth is, you cannot achieve extraordinary results by playing it safe. The world does not reward timidity. It rewards those who are willing to step into the unknown, to bet on themselves, and to act when others hesitate. But let me be clear, I'm not talking about reckless gambles or blind leaps of faith. Calculated risk is about doing your homework, understanding the landscape, and making decisions based on data, intuition, and a clear sense of purpose. When I left my job on Wall Street to start Amazon, it wasn't because I was bored or looking for a thrill. It was because I had analyzed the trends, studied the growth of the internet, and realized that the biggest risk was not taking the leap. I asked myself, when I'm 80, will I regret not having tried this? The answer was obvious. I could live with failure, but I couldn't live with regret. Calculated risk means weighing the potential upside against the possible downside, and then having the courage to move forward when the odds are in your favor. At Amazon, we made hundreds of decisions that could have gone either way. We invested in new technologies, entered new markets, and launched products that no one had ever seen before. Some of those bets paid off spectacularly, like Amazon Prime, AWS, and Kindle. Others didn't work out as planned. But every single one was a learning experience, and every single one moved us closer to our vision. For your family's future, this principle is just as powerful. Building lasting wealth is not about avoiding risk. It's about managing it intelligently. It's about diversifying your investments, doing your research, and being willing to act when you see an opportunity. The families who build generate. Ional wealth are not the ones who hide their money under the mattress or stick to what's comfortable. They're the ones who are willing to invest in new industries, to back new ideas, and to take chances on themselves and their children. Calculated risk also means knowing when to say no. Not every opportunity is worth pursuing. Sometimes the smartest move is to walk away, to wait for a better moment, or to double down on what's already working. At Amazon, we learned to be disciplined about our bets. We didn't chase every trend or jump on every bandwagon. We focused on the opportunities that aligned with our long-term vision and where we believed we could create real value. That discipline is just as important for your family's financial strategy. Don't let fear or FOMO drive your decisions. Let data, research, and a clear sense of purpose guide you. One of the most important lessons I've learned is that failure is not the enemy of success. Inaction is. Every time you take a calculated risk, you open the door to new possibilities. You give yourself and your family a chance to grow, to learn, and to achieve more than you ever thought possible. Yes, there will be setbacks. Yes, there will be moments of doubt. But the only way to guarantee failure is to never try at all. Teach your children to be comfortable with risk. Encourage them to ask questions, to challenge assumptions, and to take smart chances. Show them that it's okay to fail, as long as you learn from it and keep moving forward. The world is changing faster than ever, and the families who thrive will be the ones who are willing to adapt, to innovate, and to take bold, calculated risks. In the end, maximizing Nuncio rewards is not about luck. It's about preparation, courage, and a willingness to act. It's about seeing the world not just as it is, but as it could be. That's how you build a legacy that lasts, not just for yourself, but for every generation that follows. Take calculated risks, bet on your vision, and never let fear hold you back. That's the path to extraordinary rewards, and it's a journey worth taking. Learning from setbacks and adapting your strategy for lasting family wealth is not just a tactic, it's a mindset that separates those who build generational legacies from those who simply chase fleeting success. If there's one thing I've learned on my journey, it's that failure is not the opposite of success. It's a vital part of it. Every meaningful achievement, every breakthrough, every leap forward is built on a foundation of lessons learned from things that didn't go as planned. The families and individuals who thrive over the long term are not the ones who never stumble. They're the ones who get back up. Analyze what happened and use that knowledge to make smarter decisions next time. At Amazon, we never shied away from failure. In fact, we embraced it as an essential ingredient of innovation and growth. We launched products that didn't work, invested in ideas that fizzled, and made bets that didn't pay off. The Fire Phone is a famous example, a product that failed spectacularly by most traditional measures. But what most people don't see is what came after. We didn't sweep that failure under the rug. We dissected it, learned from it, and used those lessons to fuel our next big success. The technology, the insights, and the courage we gained from that experience directly contributed to the creation of Alexa and Echo, which went on to redefine how people interact with technology in their homes. This approach is just as important when it comes to building and protecting your family's wealth. The market will humble you. There will be investments that don't pan out, economic downturns that test your resolve, and unexpected events that force you to rethink your plans. The key is not to avoid risk or pretend that setbacks won't happen. The key is to build a culture of learning and adaptation within your family. Talk openly about what worked and what didn't. Encourage curiosity and resilience in your children. Make it clear that mistakes are not something to be ashamed of, but something to be studied and learned from. Adaptation is the secret weapon of every enduring legacy. The world is changing faster than ever. Technology, markets, and even the very definition of wealth are evolving at a pace that can feel overwhelming. The families who succeed are the ones who are willing to pivot, to update their strategies, and to reinvent themselves as circumstances change. That might mean diversifying your investments, learning new skills, or even changing careers. It might mean letting go of old assumptions and being open to new opportunities. The point is, you can't afford to be rigid. Flexibility is strength. One of the most powerful things you can do for your family is to create a feedback loop, a process for regularly reviewing your financial decisions, assessing what's working, and making adjustments as needed. At Amazon, we institutionalize this with mechanisms like postmortems and working backwards documents. We didn't just celebrate our wins, we studied our losses. We asked tough questions, challenged our own thinking, and made sure that every experience, good or bad, made us better. You can do the same in your family. Set aside time to review your investments, your spending, your goals. Be honest about what's not working, and don't be afraid to change course. The truth is, lasting wealth is not built on a string of perfect decisions. It's built on a willingness to learn, to adapt, and to keep moving forward no matter what. It's built on the understanding that every setback is temporary, but the lessons you take from it can last a lifetime. Teach your children to see challenges as opportunities, to approach problems with curiosity instead of fear, and to value growth over comfort. That's how you build not just financial security, but a family culture that can weather any storm. In the end, the families who change their future forever are not the ones who never fail. They're the ones who never stop learning. They turn every setback into a stepping stone, every mistake into a lesson, and every challenge into a chance to grow stronger. That's the real secret to lasting wealth, and it's a legacy you can start building today. Embrace setbacks, adapt your strategy, and keep your eyes on the long-term vision. That's how you ensure your family's future is not just secure, but extraordinary.